Hello, and welcome to episode 200 of the Arena Regulars
Wow.
podcast. I'm Zach,
And I'm Jeff.
and we're your source for drunken Magic the Gathering arena content.
That's right. Just a couple of regular guys drinking some irregular beers, talking about Magic the Gathering, in particular, the online client, MTG Arena.
That's right, Jeff. And like you said earlier, wow, 200 episodes of
We
the
did
show.
it.
We
We made
did
it.
we did something. We definitely did something. Wow, crazy. Cannot believe that we've made it this far.
Yeah.
Just nuts. Man. But anyway, this is our happy hour episode for the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering crossover set. So it feels very fitting to be talking about looking back on the set as well as looking back on the entire podcast. It's going to be a great night. Very excited. But first, as everyone knows, each week we bring a beer, we drink it, we rate it on a scale from bronze to mythic, just like the tiers in Arena. So with that, Jeff, what is on tap this week?
All right. So we have a fitting one today. So one of my favorite beers of all time is Muskoka Brewery's Mad Tom. It's a West Coast IPA. And what they like to do is Mad Tom himself is a bit of an adventurer. And so
Hmm.
they release other IPAs. Um, like in one of them he's in space, or in one of them maybe he travels to the East Coast. So it's an East Coast IPA instead of a West Coast one. And whenever they make one of those, we always make a point of doing it on the show. So
Hmm.
for our 200th episode, there's a new one. And this
Hmm.
one is pretty cool itself because it is a bi-coastal IPA, meaning it is them blending an East Coast style and a West Coast style. I think traditionally, my love of Mad Tom aside, we have both kind of fallen squarely on the East Coast side of the debate.
Yeah.
So let's see if this bi-coastal IPA can change our minds. Maybe this is even better than both.
It will be very interesting. So this is supposed to be blending like tropical fruit notes, which would be like East Coast style, with very hoppy and like was it pine notes sometimes from West Coast. So we will see.
Yeah, and like usually if we're talking fruit and West Coast, we're talking citrus. Like
That's true. Yes,
that's about as crazy as we go there. So this is like I don't know, is it a West Coast IPA that is using more interesting fruit?
that
Is
I
it an
could
East
be.
Coast IPA that's more aggressively hopped? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know what what those differences really would be,
Yeah, maybe
but
those are the same thing.
maybe it's the same thing. That's what I kind of think. But anyway, I'm excited to try this out and drink another one of these Muskoka beers with Mad Tom on the label. Uh,
Yes, and I don't know if I even mentioned it. It's called Aviator. So
yes.
in this story, Mad Tom is a bush pilot, I guess,
Hmm.
who frequently travels coast to coast, and so that has inspired this bi-coastal version of the Mad Tom IPA.
That is right. All right, Jeff. Let's get this open. Let's see how
Let's
it
do it.
is.
We'll know what it's going to
Oh
look like.
yeah. Hopefully beer colored.
Oh, it is beer colored.
Look at that.
It
It's not
actually
purple.
looks it actually looks like halfway between East and West Coast.
It does. Ooh, baby.
Like it's not as light and pale as East Coast, but it
East
has
Coast.
that like what's the opposite? Opacity.
Yes. All right. Well, cheers, buddy. 200
Cheers.
episodes.
200. We did
Oh,
it. We
crazy.
did a thing.
Hmm. And with that, we have some magic news. So, we are deep, 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 deep in Edge of Eternity's the what's it called? Previews are coming out. The card image gallery will be finished this Friday, July 18th. And then we're rolling into all that stuff. So basically, this is the last chance before we've seen all the cards for Edge of Eternities. So that's why we want to say goodbye to Final Fantasy and have a little happy hour for it. Talk about the fun things, all the great stuff about the set, and our overall thoughts. Even though I feel like we've already done a pretty good job of just kind of thinking about Final Fantasy in general. Like I feel like this set has been monumental in the sense that I've been thinking about it for a long time, maybe for different reasons, but we've been talking about this moment in Magic's history for the last like 7 months, 8 months or so.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it, and I think it's kind of perfect that the Final Fantasy Happy Hour is our 200th episode.
Hmm.
because one of my earliest memories of this show, and I don't think this was actually episode one. So like my brain is saying it was in episode three, but I
Hmm.
didn't go back and check officially. But one of my earliest memories is sitting at my table in my apartment in Toronto,
Hmm.
and you were going on a bit of a tirade about essentially the beginnings of Universes Beyond. It was a
That,
secret layer
yeah.
that was not reprints. I think that was your main argument, or the main
Hmm.
thing you didn't like about it was that there were new cards that were appearing in a secret layer. Secret layers are very hard to get your hands on, and so not everyone can play with the same cards, which is kind of the nice point of the game. But also it's kind of like these are not magic cards.
Hmm.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that this was episode 0, actually. I think this was
It
the
was actually
episode.
episode zero.
I think it
Okay,
was the one that never got released. It was the one that so a little lore for the podcast. When we first
even
started,
better,
we
even
uh
better.
we had some drifting issues with the audio, the way where we were recording stuff. And so we had done one episode to be our episode number 1, and it was so unusable. It became episode 0. We had to scrap it. We had to redo that whole episode. And I
Mhm.
think we did the second recording of that at my apartment, but the first recording we
Right.
ever did was at your apartment.
That's why I thought it was episode three because that one was also at my apartment.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that it would be episode zero. Okay. And my take on it was kind of like, I'm never going to play with these cards, so I don't care. Like, this doesn't
Hmm.
affect me at all.
Yeah.
Um, and
And I was
like,
saying this is the beginning of what's to come. This it was the
right.
Walking Dead secret layer, and I was like, this is the first time Magic is ever doing this. There will be more in the future, and just wait. You will have to play with these cards at some point.
Yeah. So you were a doomsayer, and
I was.
I was like a kind of, I don't know, I play standard. They're never going to do this in standard. So, like, what do I care? So, flash forward 200 episodes, and we are now
Hmm.
wrapping up the first real big foray into basically what you said was going to happen, which is other
Hmm.
IPs infiltrating all parts of Magic.
Yeah.
And I guess we could talk about if our opinions have changed. I mean, my opinion has changed on whether or not Universes Beyond will infiltrate Standard. I think it will. And so that's different. But how about you? Are you like, I told you so, and the game is ruined? Or,
I I all right. So first, I told you so,
yes, you do get
but
that one. Because I
but
explicitly remember you being like, this is going to affect you. And I was like, ah, what's that? Like 5 years out.
yeah. Um, but I will say that I have completely come around, like a full 180, like from being very against the Walking Dead thing, super pissed off about it, worried for the future. And I think honestly, doing this podcast and talking to you more has made me more relaxed about certain things that are just unnecessary. Like, in all actuality, that actual secret layer didn't mean anything.
Right.
Like, it didn't actually. I've never actually been around those cards one time. It's never been an issue. And anytime someone who's like, well, in Legacy, blah blah, there are so many people that are saying those words that don't play Legacy, me included, as someone who
Right.
doesn't, who is saying that and did
Never,
not, never,
never played a single game
never,
of Legacy.
never played Legacy, but Rick ruined Legacy, that kind of thing.
What
Um,
about the reserve list?
yeah, no. Uh, so like coming from there until now, where I have like, even within the last 7 months, I've completely changed. I've talked about this a lot, but I decided that I wanted to change my feelings towards Universes Beyond. And Final Fantasy was a great one because I hadn't really ever given those games a shot.
Mhm.
And so I started playing them, and I can now say, I think I'm officially a Final Fantasy fan because I'm
Oh,
wrapping up
nice.
Final Fantasy X. I think I'm probably going to like play the end of the game tomorrow, which is crazy.
Ooh.
And I've played a bit of Final
I
Fantasy
remember that
7.
last boss being a doozy, but
Yeah, well, all right, we'll have to see. Don't freak me out too much. Might take me too long then. But like I never thought that I was going to want to play a turn-based RPG. I always talked about how much I hated them, and Final
It's
Fantasy
true.
was like
You're always anti-turn-based combat. Yeah.
extremely anti. And I've been completely flipped around. And if Magic did not go into this space, I would never have given it a try. Like I really never would have.
Right.
And so I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is that like I was thinking that this was a lot of Magic being infiltrated by other IPs,
Hmm.
but it feels to me that I'm getting to experience other IPs in a way that I like. And maybe I can then come around to the way that they are. Because if I didn't have like learning all the characters from Final Fantasy through Magic cards was pretty awesome.
Hmm.
And it's actually a blast playing the game and seeing a character from, oh my god, I drafted that card, that's so awesome, oh my god, I know exactly what this does, and see having the reverse effect of like I'm not a Final Fantasy fan starting out with, so I don't know all the characters when I look at the card and be like, oh, that's what the card, like the card does that in the game. It's how similar how I feel like when you watch a movie that was based off a book that you like, and off sometimes you could be, oh, that's not how I envisioned the like it to be or whatever. And so often
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some Final Fantasy fans that are like, oh, that's not really the card I thought that was going to be. That's my favorite character, and this card's kind of lame. Where like I get the opposite, where I'm like, look at all these cool cards that I, you know, awesome, whatever. Or like, yeah, okay, this card's not that great, but then you play the game, you're like, holy shit, they're really good in the game. That card is not nearly as good as I didn't
Yeah.
think that character was going to be so strong. So,
Yeah, I have had that happen with the D&D set. I played the original Baldur's Gate long before that set came out, and the big bad guy in the original Baldur's Gate is Sarevok, and he is hard as shit. Like he's the final boss, and I've never been able to beat him without complete and utter cheesing. Like
mhm,
there's a wand that lets you summon a bunch of summons, and I just stack them throughout the whole game so that I have like 100 of them. And I
mhm,
just spam that and swarm him with shit and attack him from the outside until he dies. That's my go-to way to beat him. And it
mhm.
doesn't always work. I need to like reload the save a few times because sometimes he just massacres them too quickly. But like his card was terrible. So I was like, what is
Yeah,
this? This guy is like a big, like he's like a demigod, son of the god of death. Like,
yeah.
again, impossible to beat in the game unless there was some trick I didn't know about. But like, he was a tough customer, and then his card was like, what is that? But generally, I know, generally, I find it goes like the other way, like you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that I think there's a couple characters from the early Final Fantasy games that are like big baddies that end up being kind of like wimpy in their cards.
Yeah.
But, but yes, that's definitely a thing for sure.
And I wouldn't mind if like the big baddie, like they do this all the time where the card is not a good card, but it's because it's too
Oh,
expensive or
but it's
something.
like
But it's like
flavorful.
big and powerful
Hmm.
and like it's like, whoa, yeah, that's totally him. This was just like it's just a bad card. It's like way too expensive and weak.
And
Sarevok, what's
it's
going
like
on?
a uncommon draft uncommon. Yeah, that's like not very
Yeah.
good.
So
I do
obviously,
remember
like,
that.
I'm sure they do some research and be like, which characters do we really have to make big and bad and stuff? And he just wasn't on the list, I guess. But for me, that was one of that was those moments of like you described with the book and movie thing,
Yeah.
where the book's always better. Uh,
Well, I guess what I was trying to say is that oftentimes people feel like the book is better, but if you never read the book, you watch the
yeah,
movie and then you read the book, everything's just great. You're just like
right.
everything's awesome, and that's where I like to come in. Where it's like, you know what? How about you? I will not engage with you for 15 years or whatever. What I guess with Final Fantasy it was like 36 or 7 years, something like that. And now I will engage at this point.
Right.
Now I get to have just all the good stuff all at the same time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been great, and the fact that this set came out on June 10th and is leaving at the end of July. We have 7 weeks of it, like officially, as the draft set. Originally, we were kind of like, oh, sweet, that's a little bit shorter than the 8 week or 9 week runs.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
now I'm kind of like, oh man, only 7 weeks. That's so sad. Bummer.
Yeah. So I do want to just mention too, I think the other good analogy with the movie thing is in when you do the movie first and then the book,
Hmm.
in both cases, there's like spoilers in a way where
Yeah,
uh, like maybe I want to go play Final Fantasy VII. I know that Sephiroth transforms into some sort of one-winged angel.
that's true.
That's like that. I've played with that card so much,
Hmm.
and so many turns are me explicitly trying to make that happen.
Hmm.
So it's like I am aware that something like that is going to
It's
happen
going
in
to
this game.
happen. Yeah.
And you get that a bit with movies too, where you're like they only show you the like important plot points, so you know all that
Hmm.
stuff's gonna
Where you're
happen.
going. I
Um,
will say the one time, this is completely off topic, but did you ever read Ender's Game, the book?
no, but I feel like that rings a bell. I can feel like I've seen that or heard of it.
It's a great book, um, but they made a movie out of it, and I remember, and that was one of the ones where I read the book. I don't even think I watched the movie, but I remember when I was reading the book, kind of the big thing. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's reading, but I remember reading that book, and I was like, there aren't that many pages left. Like, we are not even close to what the end of this. And then something happens, and then of course that's why the book ends where it does, which would not be the case if you're watching the movie because you cannot tell when the movie's going to end unless you're pausing it constantly to see how many minutes you
Right.
have left. But if you went to the movie theater, you wouldn't really know. It would just
Right.
kind of happen to you. Where the book kind of gave it away. Where I'm like, we got like this much left. Like, what's going to
Yeah.
happen? Like, what are we doing here, folks? And that was the first time I was like, oh, maybe this would have been better as a movie because this whole thing. I was thinking about this for so like every time I picked up the book, I was like,
Yeah. Something crazy has to happen
something crazy is going to
now.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's funny too because that you say that because I remember going to see the first Hobbit movie with my
mhm.
wife,
Yeah.
and I guess somehow she was not aware that the Hobbit movie was a trilogy
Mm.
because it's one book. And so we
Yes.
were going to The Hobbit,
Yeah.
and she expected that to be one movie. And we're like, over 2 hours into this thing. And at one point, she's just like sitting there eating popcorn. She's like, how are they going to wrap this up?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she doesn't
Oh, she
know.
doesn't know.
Oh, this is going to be funny.
Yeah.
And so when it ended, she was just like, they're just like on a hill. Like, they're not even close to their stated objectives. But I was just like, she had that feeling of just like we've been here a long time and this
Yeah.
story is not
Not
particularly close to
not
to
even
its
close.
denouement here.
Yeah.
So like I'm pretty sure there's a dragon at some point. I
Yeah.
haven't seen
It's
that
like
yet.
yeah.
Like,
Oh God, that
um,
was yeah.
so it can
Anyway,
happen with movies too, though, where you're
that's
just
true. It's
like,
true.
yeah, I've been here long enough to know that this is not, and we haven't progressed far enough through the plot they promised me to.
Yeah. Or the thing that I hate the most is when you're watching a movie like that, and then you're like, the kind of big climax of the film is happening and you only realize like during that fight you're like, oh, this is the big one. Oh, okay,
Oh, right.
this
Yeah.
is gonna
Like,
be the
oh,
last
this
one.
is what they're going to end on.
Got it.
Gotcha.
And I was like, instead of like you're getting ready for it and you know it's happening right here, it feels weird where it's like almost done and you're like, oh wait, no, that is the end. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But in the
Shoot.
of it's just like a random encounter that happened, or
Exactly.
maybe it doesn't even actually happen in the book. They have to make one
Yeah.
because,
Of they
they
need
need a
something
natural stopping point for their movie.
that's like climactic, I guess, which does make sense. But anyway,
It feels like bad writing if you're sitting there and it's like the end of the fight, you're like, oh, that was the big fight. Okay.
yeah. See,
Like,
they
or
did a
but directing, or there's something went wrong in the production there.
yeah, just like the planning where they're like, well, we want 3 movies because there are 3 Lord of the Rings films. It's like, what if you?
Yeah.
But it's really just 2. You just want to figure out how to do an extra one, kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
people were talking about
I know
this.
a lot of people think they should have done one. I think they should have done two. I think they could have done two pretty solid movies.
Yeah, but sometimes they just do whatever they want. I mean, like
Yeah.
they love making extra movies and stuff, like Wicked, right? That's
Yeah.
two. It's gonna be two movies. The next one's coming out. But I will say the one thing that makes sense with the Wicked thing. Well, first of all, they did not market it as Wicked Part One and Part Two. You don't realize
Yeah, see,
until you
I'm even just learning that now because I
okay.
saw the trailers for Wicked. I just assumed that was the Wicked movie.
Yeah. When you show up to the theater, it just has the titles Wicked. And then at the top it goes Part One. And you're like, what the fuck? You're like, wait, what? I thought I was
Nobody,
watching the movie. What is happening? Is this
nobody told me that.
nobody told me this? And
Is this like a
so
preview? What's going
but
on?
then it does kind of make sense because since it's a play, there is a, act one, act
Act
two.
one, act
And
two.
so the
Yeah.
climax of act one before intermission is always a big thing in musicals. So it actually makes sense as a stopping point for like, okay, now take a
Yeah,
year to
the
come back.
intermission's not usually a couple of years though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. What that would be a pretty interesting show though. You buy the tickets, like, all right, you have this night this year, and then a year from now you come back and watch the rest of it. Try to remember.
Yeah. All the actors are different as stuff happens. You don't remember anyways. So that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, probably not the most exciting experiment ever, but talking about Final Fantasy cards and Magic the Gathering
Yes.
again. As always, at our for our happy hours, we like to talk about some of the cards that we had picked and some of the things that we thought were going to be good from the set. Specifically, our Pack Zero Pick One challenge. Well, not ours; it's somebody else's challenge.
Yeah.
MTG Data Science on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find them there. They came up with this fantastic challenge. We always like doing it because it's a lot of fun. So, Jeff, would you like to break it down and remind us what this challenge is and what we do with it?
Yeah, sure. So pack zero, pick one happens obviously before you sit down. Well, for most of us, it's before we sit down and actually play with the cards.
It is. I did
Some of
pick.
us like to, bend the rules there a little bit. But we pick what we think is going to be the best common from each color, white, blue, black, red, green. Then we pick one that is not a monocolored common. Then we pick a miscellaneous. So you just get an extra sort of flex slot if you're a
Mhm.
fantasy player. Um, and then you get your gold signpost. So every set always has like these two color gold cards that are designed to tell you what that archetype is trying to do. You've got to pick the best one of those. So it's sort of like picking the best colors, but not always. The
Mhm.
best color pair, but not always. And then you choose a tiebreaker rare. So if you add up the percentage, the win rates, the game in hand win rates from 17lands.com for each of your picks. If you're somehow tied with someone else, you'll use the tiebreaker rare to determine who the winner is. In this case, we picked the same tiebreaker rare, so no ties were going to be broken if
Mhm.
this collection of different cards somehow came out to the exact same score.
Yes.
But that's what it is.
That is. And it's a lot of fun. I recommend you play it. We're going to be talking about it next week for the Edge of Eternity's pregame
Yeah.
episode because that is when we do the Pack Zero Pick Ones.
And try not to judge us too much because this is really hard. I
Yeah.
knew it was going to be hard when you described it, but like now when I look back, I'm always like, this was way harder than I was even giving it credit for. Like,
It's a really hard game to play. And anytime you like, we've done it for an entire year now.
yeah.
And it is difficult to pick the winningest card from a certain color or it just looking at a bunch of cards, it's really hard to be like, oh, that's the best one. And we'll explain a little bit of some of the ones that were confusing about this time around. And there's no way in hell I would have picked that card. And they ended up
Right.
being the right
But
answer.
and I think I appreciated that always. Like I always knew evaluating cards without playing with them is a very difficult skill.
Hmm.
Um, but I one of the reasons I recommend people try this is I didn't realize quite how hard it was until you have to like, put your money where your mouth is, until you
And you,
actually have to choose things before you ever get to play with
it's
them,
true.
and you record that,
Hmm.
and that's sitting there for posterity,
And you
and you get to
can't,
look back later.
yeah, and you can't like just change it in your mind and be like, oh, well, I didn't really pick that one. I picked
You're
this
like,
one. I
yeah, I
thought
wasn't
about picking
solid.
that
I
one.
wasn't
Yeah,
solid on that,
yeah, exactly.
whatever. It's
The
like, no,
other
you had to
thing,
pick.
the other thing I would like to mention, which we have kind of talked about this before, but for the show, because Jeff and I are picking with each other and we're sharing them on the podcast, I think that it does change my picks mentally a little bit, just
Yeah,
because I don't want to always pick the same ones as Jeff, and I want it
that's
to be a
true as
little bit
well. Yeah.
interesting. So it kind of screws it up a little bit. So sometimes I start,
Sometimes I've done that where I'm like,
yes,
Zach's going to pick this for sure. So I
yeah.
should
So I
try to pick something different because
and
we can't just tie every time.
exactly, and I think coming off of, and it always has like you have recency bias. So coming off of Dragons of Tarkir, or sorry, Tarkir Dragonstorm. I just want to call it Dragons, but anyway,
Yeah.
we almost had exactly the same team. It was not necessarily the most exciting. So this one had given me a little bit of juice to
And you,
try some other
and you
stuff.
talked
And
about recency bias too. Like, I don't know if you're just referring to the fact that we picked the same cards or like there's a bit of the thing where you're like, oh, you know, murder was good in the last set.
that's exactly what it
And so
is.
I am tempted not to pick murder in this one because I'm like, it's usually not good twice in a
Twice in-
row. You know what I
Or I
mean?
feel the
Like,
opposite, where it's like, do they just want this card to be good now? Or
yeah,
this
yeah,
card looks a lot like the best one from the last one.
right.
Stuff like that. Uh, but anyway, I don't want to
Try to
stay.
metagame it a little bit where you're like,
Yeah,
what would Wizards want? Do they want murder to be like the evergreen top black common, or do they want it to be awesome one set, terrible the next
yeah.
kind of thing?
Anyway, Jeff, I don't want to spend too much time talking about these, but I think we should go
I,
through them for sure.
I could see why you wouldn't want to.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, he's just telling you what happens in the end, folks. Let's talk about our white cards. I'll go first. I picked Fate of the Suncrest,
Yeah,
which
we nailed this one.
okay, shut the heck up. Fate of the Suncrest is the white like 5 mana instant speed destroy target non-land permanent, or if it's a tapped creature, you can pay 2 less, so it costs 3. Thought this would just be better because instant speed is really nice and you can get rid of anything and do whatever you want. Ended up getting a like basically 54%, 53.9, like a C minus level card, not the removal spell that you wanted to be in white.
I think this is some of that recency bias we're talking about because this card
Mhm.
had been pretty good in the few sets. Like the whatever the version of this card
Yeah,
was, there's always some version of this card. Um, and I think it was it the best white common, like a set or two before.
I think it could have been. Yeah. So is the one from, I think it was Aether Drift, maybe might have been one of the best ones. So that was part of my reasoning behind it. But
Yeah,
it was
right.
and
The one in Aether Drift,
yeah,
of
when I
course.
say it's like C minus, like it's bad. Like it's one of the
Yeah,
bottom cards.
right. White is a very strong color in
Yeah,
this format,
it's like fifth
and
from the bottom. It's like not doing great, which I guess is like kind
yeah.
of mid to low mid pack. But Jeff, what card did you pick?
I picked Weapons Vendor, which is kind of like right down the middle. Weapons Vendor, it's a 4 mana 2/2 that ETBs draws a card and then it has equipment synergies. Um, I think it's fine, but it's like you only want it in certain decks, and white ended up just being like a really strong color where you just can get generically powerful stuff. So I think,
Yeah.
the interesting thing about white this time is like I read it and I immediately think white orosite or
Hmm.
however you pronounce that. And then I'm trying to convince myself not to pick that. Like,
Basically,
because
yeah.
I don't want to just pick the removal spell from every color. So I'm trying to think, is there a reason I'm less interested in this than I might usually be? Oh, there's going to be a lot of artifact removal
Yeah,
and
and one of the reasons why we don't want to pick the removal spell every time is because it's not always the best common.
right.
Like it looks like it could easily be the best, and they're all important in decks, but it's not always the best one. And you could pick the wrong removal spell because sometimes you want some of the bigger stuff. Obviously, these both get rid of everything, the white Oracite and the one I picked. But this one also ramped you. It was double white, and you said an artifact, so it gets suplexed and things like that. So a lot of reasons why we decided not to pick this card, but it's still like a B, like
But
59.3%.
it is the best common, right?
Yes, it is the best performing common.
So there you go. Like you can, that's what kind of happens. If you don't sit down and do this exercise, then you can look back on it and be like, yeah, of course that was the best white common, right? It's
Hmm.
very easy for your brain to do that.
It is.
But if you don't go through the experience of being like actually trying to pick the times when the obvious card is the best versus when it's not.
Yeah,
And part of this is a competition too, so I want to like take shots. I don't
exactly.
just want to be safe because then I'm going to be like middle of the pack or
Exactly.
maybe upper mid pack if I just choose all these sort of removal spells. So I try to be like, oh, if the equipment deck is good,
Hmm.
then weapons vendor might. So our our picks look a little strange because the way we predicted the format to shape up isn't necessarily how it did.
Which is what
But
always happens.
when we were doing the episode, like we both clearly had ideas of what we thought the format was going to do,
Hmm.
and we would have nailed it if that was exactly what happened. But it
Yeah, but
obviously,
it doesn't. The one thing I want to say about the white commons is that Magic Tech Infantry, which is the one
I
mana 1/1 that fetches itself, I thought was going to be a hot pile of
I
garbage.
was deciding whether I was gonna take you to task on that one, just like ask you, what's the second best white
Yeah,
common?
I knew. I'm trying to get ahead of it, Jeff. I already know that you're in that mood right now, so I got to jump out in the front. It ended up being the second best white common, 57.8%. That was a card I specifically thought was like D level, really bad, not worth putting in your deck because you have to put a bunch more copies of that card to make it good. And I didn't want just a deck full of like 1 mana 2/1s. It kind
Yeah,
of turned out that just doing that was good enough, as well as there's a bunch of artifact synergies that were helpful with that. Sid
right.
also made it really strong. So there
I wonder
was,
too, like how much of this score here, this game in hand win rate, is coming from like this doesn't make the deck
unless you have four, basically, yeah,
unless
or
you
something.
have the synergies
Hmm.
that you want for it,
Yeah.
right? So it's like these are we've talked about this before, but the data we're looking at tends to skew towards stronger players, and
Yes.
they're not going to put this in their deck unless it's a viable addition.
Yeah, and this card in particular is very easy to look at and be like, well, you want at least two. Like that, the card
Yeah,
tells you
right.
that you want more. So if you don't have two or three, you probably don't want to put in your deck at all.
Right. Nobody's playing this in a deck with no artifact synergies and they
Hmm.
only have this one copy. Or at
Exactly.
least that'll be very rare. Like that's a draft that's probably gone wrong. Kind of
Exactly.
thing.
So anyway, just wanted to highlight that very quickly. But going into, so basically neither of us got the best white common. Going into blue, the same is true. Neither of us got the best white common, unfortunately. But Jeff, do you want to talk about your blue common first?
All right. I chose, well, technically I chose Dragoon's Wyvern, I believe.
Hmm.
But after being corrected in our Discord channel, I'm
Yeah.
going to call it Dragoon's Wyvern.
Yes.
Um, I was close, but Dragoon's
Hmm.
Wyvern is not the best performing blue common on 17 lands, but it is the second best. It had a
Hmm.
whopping 58.6%, puts it in the B range if you're a limited resources uh,
Fan.
fan. And yeah, I mean, this was just kind of this one. Like sometimes I allow myself to do the quote unquote obvious one, and this one was the obvious one to me. That like two
Hmm.
mana, 2/1 that makes a 1/1. Like we've seen versions of this be the best blue common
Hmm.
uh, recently. So I was kind of like, there's a lot going on in blue. I'm not totally sure. I'm just gonna pick the thing that's gonna at least be in the top five. Like there's
Yeah.
no question this is in the top five or whatever. Um, and that played out.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, I think my pick is very interesting because I was trying to take a shot on this one.
Yep.
I decided to go with a draw spell, Dreams of Laguna, which is the our similar version to Think Twice, except for it had synergies with the pay 4 mana on non-creature spells thing because it has flashback, something to do on 2 and 4. It draws you cards. It makes sure that you get cards that you want because you surveil. Blah 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 blah. I thought this format was going to go kind of long and grindy, and you needed to have more cards. Unfortunately, Dreams of Laguna had a 57.8% win rate, which is like a B minus. Um,
Still
but
really
the
good.
but which is still pretty good. But the best performing blue common was Combat Tutorial, which is the divination variant, the 3 mana draw spell that puts a counter on something. Now, I thought that a 3 mana non-creature spell in a deck that cares about 4 mana non-creature spells was going to be bad. That was not the case. I guess the counter is good enough, and it was really annoying.
Yeah, can you tell me more about this? Like I never would have picked this card in a million years as the
Yeah.
best blue common. You give me like 1,000 blind tries at this. Maybe I don't always land on Dragoon's Wyvern, but I'm
Mhm.
never picking combat tutorials. So
Never ever picking combat tutorial.
I haven't really played much of the set, to be honest.
Hmm.
So I'm just curious. You played a lot of it. How did this
It,
happen?
so
What is this?
I think I'm underestimating the +1/+1 counters, especially in blue, where you often don't get to do that. But being able to put that on your like Scorpion Sentinel or your Sahagin, like your really defensive creatures, was
Hmm.
great while you're drawing cards. Like as long as you have a good 2-drop, being able to put a counter on something so that it like actually stops your opponents from killing you immediately is great. I think it also synergizes with the uncommon, the Emperor Palamecia, because he cares about having +1/+1 counters on him. And so if you have the Emperor Palamecia, you can play Combat Tutorial, put another counter on it, and it'll flip 1 turn earlier without a 4 mana spell. But just in general, making sure that your hand is stocked, which I was right about, was very important. Making sure you had lots of cards, because I think this format was extremely, it was fairly even, but it was decidedly like one of the best decks, or like the best deck. I was just surprised that this card fit into that deck so well. And it was because you wanted to be playing Sahagins and things and putting counters on them, and then killing your opponents later in the game, and making sure you have a bunch of like a ton of cards.
Interesting.
So it's
To me,
really
to
just
me, this
it's the counter. It
just
really is the counter.
yeah, but like divination is so far from
That's what I
being
thought.
something you're excited about in
Yeah,
modern limited that I know a +1/+1 counter's great, but like
I'm just
it,
I
it's
it
that good. It's just a bit surprising to me.
it's one of those things that like oftentimes I'll look at cards and and it gets a +1/+1 counter. I'll be like, that doesn't really mean anything. And I
Yeah.
need to kind of maybe rework things where it's like it just changes all the math just enough that if I think better players can capitalize on that a lot more. Anyway, combo tutorial, damn, run this a million times. I'm never picking that card, so
Exactly. Like, and I think this shows how hard it is
it's so
because
hard.
I don't want to say no one would have picked this, obviously, but I think very few people would have picked this.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Even the person that was looking for draw spells didn't pick that, which is
Yeah.
me. But whatever. Anyway, woof. But next up in black, um, I mean, like, I'll start us off. It's really
Okay.
just kind of it's kind of a
This one is your the next two are your kind of time to shine,
bread
I
and
guess.
butter. I mean, like
Well, I
these are
guess
the
the next three, to be fair.
yeah, these ones are pretty easy. When you go into black red, they often are just the removal spells, and you're trying to figure out which removal spell is the one that works.
Yeah, that's the trick for black and red.
Yeah. And so Jeff and we can kind of go over this whole chunk together.
Sure.
So I picked Sephiroth's Intervention, which is the 4 mana destroy any creature, gain 2 life. Gain 2 life, huge actually. At instant speed, that ended up being the winningest common. 58.6% B level card. Great. There's lots of big things that you need to kill. You don't want to have to worry about what toughness they have or whatever. Just kill the stuff, gain life. It triggers your 4 mana value stuff. It triggers your Sahagins. It does all, which ended up being a really good card. So it checks the boxes that I was thinking it would check. And yeah, great card.
Yeah, and I picked Fane's Treachery, which
Mm-hmm.
is in line of what my story was here with some of these cards. Yours was obviously about sort of grindier
Mm-hmm.
games, and mine was more about maybe the equipment deck is good, maybe
Mm-hmm.
small, like you're gonna want the small removal spell rather than the big one. Fane's Treachery was okay. It was the
Mm-hmm.
fourth best common. I'm really happy to see cornered by black mages here because you know, the draft I did with this card, this was awesome. And I was like, okay, I remember mentally being like, this has to crank up in my pick
Hmm.
order here because reading it, I was like, obviously, when it works out, a removal spell that makes a token is awesome. Like
Hmm.
that's the best card in this, the best black common in the set for sure. But how reliable is the edict effect?
Hmm.
And I just found like you could generally make it happen.
Yeah,
Um,
especially when you have other things to help you get the stuff that you want.
exactly right. I was black red, and
Yeah,
it
that's
was
the.
so easy for me to clear the way to get their big thing with this
Mhm.
consistently that I was kind of like, you know, let's remember this one as being better than it looks, in my estimation. I'm sure to some people they're like, wow, that looked awesome and it was awesome. But to
Mhm.
me, I would have put this like mid-ish pack, maybe C plus, not
Yeah,
B minus.
I think I put both of the Vayne's Treachery and Sephiroth's Intervention above Cornered by Black Mages,
Hmm.
which I would have been slightly wrong. They're very close, and they're also deck dependent too. But yeah, it
Yeah.
is hard. These like and rolling into red as well. Like I picked Thunder Magic, which was 58.4%, which is a B minus. It did happen to be the winningest red common.
Nailed it again.
Yeah, but you picked well you can say.
I picked Suplex, which
Hmm.
is the sorcery speed braid that exiles.
Yeah.
Um, and looking back, it's like feels like kind of obvious Thunder Magic
Hmm.
is going to be the best one. But I think my thinking here was around like white auracite and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like just the getting rid of artifacts in such a clean way
Hmm.
is going to matter. And obviously it did. This was again like the fourth best
Yeah.
common in red, but
The scaling of Thunder Magic and stuff
yeah, not as
and
much as the
yeah,
flexibility of Thunder Magic.
and also the fact that Thunder Magic can cost 4 mana if you need it to.
Right.
Means it fits in the blue red deck very, very well. And Suplex starts to go down when you have like because Suplex can't cost 4 mana, you just don't really want it in your deck as much. You don't have as many slots for like non 4 mana, non creature spells in your deck.
Right.
Well, and I think things could have been very different if the blue red deck was not good. But because it was good, it did matter.
Right. Or if there's just a lot more like high impact three toughness things
Hmm.
where the
Or a ton of
if
like
the
the
format's a
artifact
little
deck.
faster, right?
Hmm.
And
It's
yeah.
all those little things, and so that's why it's so hard to play this game. I did want to just call out that Call the Mountain Chocobo is 57.2% C plus level card for a 4 mana ramp spell. It's not even
Right.
a ramp spell. It's a 4 mana put a mountain in your hand, make a 2/2 with flashback. Definitely thought this was going to be hot garbage, but ended up being very good and triggering all your stuff, making a dude, getting a land. I don't know. It ended
Again though,
up,
right? Like
yeah,
four mana is almost a boon, right?
yeah.
Because
It's
it
like
triggers
better,
those things.
exactly. So
Yeah.
definitely hard to evaluate these things, but love to look back on them and be like, hey, this is all of it is shaped by what ends up being really strong, and then what cards do well against those decks. And if there's an archetype that just doesn't perform, which luckily in this format, most of them performed pretty well. Like they're all very even. I think
Yeah.
Gruul is the lowest. But for the most part, they were correct in the Pro Tour where they said you can play basically whatever you want. There are ones that
Pros
are
got it right.
the ones that you'd like. Well, I mean, the pros said that a bit too, but it was just commentators, which I know they're selling the set and all that stuff. I was also selling the set this time around, so
Yeah, yeah.
but I do think that is pretty true. It's a really fun draft format. But Jeff, the next card, we can both basket our celebration here.
We got it. We both picked Town Greeter. Come on, man. I'm never gonna miss this one. Town
No.
Greeter is the best green common.
Hmm.
It is a B.
Yes.
It is 58.7% win rate, puts it right up there with all the ones we've talked about, Sephiroth's Intervention Combat Tutorial,
Hmm.
uh, White Orsite's a little higher, but the rest of them are all kind of in that range.
Hmm.
Uh, Town Reader is an amazing card, and
So good. So good.
yeah, I mean, there was just no chance I wasn't going to pick this.
No.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I picked the same thing. Um, I knew Jeff was going to pick this, and I picked it anyway. You know, it was just
yeah,
one
you're
of those
like,
like
but
doesn't matter.
he's going to be
It's
right, and I
it's going
don't
to be
want to
so
lose
good.
because I refuse to pick Town Reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other cards past that, Summon Fat Chocobo, Chocobo Kick, and Balam T Rex are further down.
I don't know if Summon Fat Chocobo was on my radar, but from the like events I did play,
It
definitely
is.
understand why it's here. Like,
Yeah, all the giving trample to your whole team for 3 turns in a row is brutal.
yeah.
It really screws
And
up
like the
certain
just a
decks.
4/4 plus a
A
2/2
2/2 for
and a
5 mana.
landfall for 5, it's not that bad, right?
It
So
really
it's
is like
like,
7 power for 5 mana.
yeah,
Like
it's a lot.
it's
And
a
a 7
lot.
trampling power.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you're
Hmm.
interested in attacking with
Yeah.
they have trample.
So frustrating. Um, but really great to see. Jeff, this is moving into one of the hardest ones, which is this is the non-monocolored card. So, or sorry,
Right.
this is the colorless one. Like it changes depending
Sort
on
of.
which set we're
Yeah.
in. But when we say non-monocolored, we're for this set, it's colorless, which is all the lands and artifacts.
Right.
So it's really difficult to pick this one because all the cards look like garbage most of the
Yeah.
time. Almost all of them are garbage.
Yeah,
And
it's like
you,
all the unplayable artifacts that show
mhm,
up at the end of the packs.
yeah. And you know that for this set specifically, we both resigned ourselves to saying a land is going to be the best,
Yeah.
but you have to pick which land will be the like the best color pair, and it's kind of a toss up. I mean, you can have an educated guess,
Yeah, of course.
but
Or
picking a
try to
land
go for
isn't.
something like Adventures In or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's not really fun to do that.
yeah,
Um,
we both acknowledged that the lands were going to be the best. We just don't know
mhm,
the ordering, and it's not fun to pick a land, so we're going to pick
exactly.
something else.
Yeah, and well, it paid off for some people and didn't pay off for others.
Can I say, if we remove the lands, I sniped this one?
Yes, I will say that's true. If we remove the lands, you did snipe it. That's why I did give you the bold coloring
I know, I
on
saw
our.
that, and
Yeah.
I was like, did it really beat the lands when I saw it bold?
Hmm.
Then I opened it up. It's like, oh, I see what you did. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just being nice. It's of the cards that we were picking from.
But I picked Monk's Fist, which
Hmm.
people might not know what it does. So it's a 2 mana artifact with job select. Your creature gets +1/+1 as a monk, equipped 2.
Hmm.
This is kind of going into my theme of like, hey, maybe the equipment deck is good. Maybe fast decks are good here. This is actually not that bad a body for a
Hmm.
colorless card. And the way these colorless cards tend to play is like, you're not hoping to play Monk's Fist, right? Like, even
Yeah.
the equipment deck is hoping not to play it. But sometimes you don't quite get there and you just
Hmm.
need 2 drops and you have these in your pile. And
Yeah.
so I thought that those situations would lead to a decent win rate for this card, actually, because
Hmm.
it's like the people playing it are the people being like, I need it for my curve to work, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, yeah, Monk's Fist was the best non-rare, or sorry, it was the best non-rare in the set. No, it was the best non-land
Monocolored
colorless
common.
common. And even that puts it at a C minus. Like it was 54.2%. It's
Yeah.
totally playable. C
But
minus is like you could play it, but you're hoping not to,
yeah, and that's exactly
which
what you
is kind of what
said.
I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
what did you pick?
All right. I didn't pick the worst card, which thank God. But I
No,
picked
there's some real garbage beat below what you picked though.
yeah. Um okay, I picked Blitzball because I thought the format was going to be all about ramping. So I thought colorless ramp sounds good. And the card says draw 2 cards on it. You just have to
Mm,
have a legendary creature deal damage to your opponent or whatever. But it seemed like there was a possibility that this could be really good. I think that I played it early on in the format, and then I slowly just stopped and started cutting it from my deck.
Yeah.
You definitely, yeah, every deck has legendary creatures basically. Like that's not the hard thing to do, but actually being able to hit with the Blitzball was hard. Or sorry, with the Blitzball out and getting that whole thing to actually get the cards, or like most of the time, if you are hitting with that creature, you want to keep ramping to play your bigger things so you don't draw your cards. Like,
It's a weird thing too because you could try to surprise them, right? They go attack with
mhm,
the legendary, they don't block, then you play this, sack it, draw 2 cards.
mhm.
But that means you're not taking advantage of the mana rock at
Yes.
all. Are you like sandbagging it? Like how does that happen,
Well,
kind
if you
of?
do
And even
that,
then it's a divination, you know? So
well, why
it's
didn't
like
you play Combat Tutorial? That's the thing.
right,
Like,
right.
play the best blue
Because you're
common,
in red black, you know?
yeah, or whatever. But
Um,
like,
I don't know. I
it
think when I first read this card, I didn't realize that the damage had to be dealt to the opponent. I kind of
oh
my
well, you
brain
have
re-scrambled it as like a legendary creature did combat damage this turn or whatever,
yeah,
and I'm just
Jeff. Instead of
that's
saying
doable.
goal at the bottom, it would say foul if that was the case. You just have
Yeah,
to hit the other player at
that's fair.
somehow.
That's a fair criticism.
You have to
Uh,
get through to the defenders, right?
but I think my
Um,
brain was kind of like, that's just way too much to ask. I have to have a legendary creature go unblocked in limited. Like,
I don't know. I think that happened a good amount of the time, but even when my opponents would have one out, I'm like, oh, if they can hit me with that, they could draw 2 cards. They wouldn't. They would just keep ramping because they would play other
right.
stuff. And so I was like, oh, well, then
Their hand is full.
there's just so
And
many
they need
other
to play.
cards
They need
that
to cast stuff.
they could ramp with. Like this was just unnecessary. So,
And if it
and
would be awesome, like the opponent always knows about it and can,
it's true.
chump block or whatever if
Yeah.
they need.
So it's all of those things. It's like the white artifact decks didn't really want to play it, even though you have Titus Blitzball Star, so that would be a nice flavor win. But the green decks that would like to ramp, they already have better things to do. You have all your like Gooba Gardeners, Precious Wanderings, your Reach the Horizons, like all those kinds of things are all over the place. Like it just ended up not being important in the decks that would want to ramp because they're just better things, better ways to ramp. So maybe it's a fun commander card, I guess. But the commander doesn't even want to play 3 mana rocks anyway. So
Yeah, it sounds pretty bad for Commander. But I don't know. I don't play.
yeah. Anyway, so this is where I've taken my turn. Basically, we were kind of doing all right, and then I quickly took a nosedive. The next miscellaneous common. Well, I've kind of led
This one
myself.
was a real beating too.
Yeah, I've led myself into this one. I actually made a video about this online, but I picked Mysidian Elder.
What
Now,
card is that? I don't even know what card that is.
everybody knows what this card is. Okay, shut the hell up. Everybody knows. It's a 3 mana 1/3 in red that when it enters, it creates a 0/1 wizard token that pings your opponent when you play non-creature spells. It has a D plus rating, which is so it hurts so much that I picked like a D plus. But
Yeah.
all I was thinking was this is a piece of cardboard that brings a piece of cardboard. I thought
Right.
I thought that ramp decks were going to be really good, and then the next best deck was going to be like Rakdos. And Rakdos was going to be the best aggro deck because it didn't have to deal damage to your opponent. You just wanted a bunch of wizards, and they couldn't stop you. That was my reasoning behind a lot of the stuff I did. This card I thought was going to be amazing in Rakdos, and I thought other decks might also want to play it just because you get cardboard to suit up with whatever. Turns
Yeah.
out Rakdos was the only deck that wanted to play this card, and nobody else would play it, basically.
Gotcha.
And because of that, Rakdos was also very mid pack. It was a good archetype, but like you yeah, I would play Rakdos decks that had like 5 copies of this. I'm like, okay, this is way too many copies. I have to cut
Right.
some. I'm playing 3 of my 5, and it's like, oh, this is really bad.
Right. Because nobody else wants them.
Exactly, because this card's just not
I have
good
to
enough.
say, I thought this was a reasonable pick. I was looking at it for red and then was like, I don't know, I'll just pick removal because I didn't like that it was a 1/3. I think that's even what I said when,
You did. You said it very,
yeah.
very clearly. I
Um,
remember.
But like this has got to be the lowest rating on this type of card we've ever seen, where it's a 3 mana. Like they make these all the time. A 3 mana
Yeah,
creature that brings along a token that
of
is
some kind
relevant to the
to this
theme,
theme of whatever.
to whatever like archetype. Um, and they're always at least solid. Like
Yeah.
they've never been this bad. So I didn't end up picking it myself because,
Hmm.
but I am surprised to see it that low.
Yeah. Well, red ended up being not the deepest color. It ended up being one of the weaker ones. Very, you pair red with other stuff.
Right.
So you want red to be
I
your
like when
base
that
blue
happens.
with red
Like it's
kind of
in the
thing.
best deck, but it's the weakest color on its
Color.
own kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why red green is really bad, or seen to be the worst, is because red is not deep enough and green is the second not deep color.
Right.
Anyway, that was kind of a brutal one. I really wanted to pick it. I was very excited for that pick. I thought that was such a great call out, and I was so stoked to play Rakdos. And I did. I honestly, throughout this entire format, I just didn't get to play Rakdos enough, or at least get to smash people's fucking face with Rakdos enough.
It's literally all I did. I did one
I know.
draft and I was Rakdos and I smashed people's face. And then I played in some sealed stuff for fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's I remember you being excited about Rakdos coming into the format with
Hmm.
all the wizards and stuff. So I'm sorry that you didn't get
I
to
did
play.
it. Well, it's also because it was really fun and a lot of people liked playing it. It's like you
Right.
open you first pick a Kuja, which is like exactly what you want for your deck, and then you just can't get the deck to come together because you were forcing it
Because there's
so hard.
three drafters at the table or whatever.
Exactly, wanting to play
Yeah.
Rakdos because the Wizards thing was so cool.
I wonder how much that affects its overall win rate too, right? Like
Totally. How
people
many
just
people
want
are
to
just?
play it, and so it's
It's
overdrafted,
just
and
like
so
all
its
the
win
Final
rate
Fantasy
naturally goes down.
Nine fans are like, let's play the Black Mages.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jeff, let's talk about your freaking card. That's just a miscellaneous whatever.
Cool. I picked Ice Magic,
Of course.
which honestly I felt really solid on blue. I actually
Hmm.
thought that I had picked number one and number two for this color. And
Yeah.
so I really hate Combat Tutorial because Ice Magic was the third best blue common. So if
Hmm.
Combat Tutorial didn't pull its sneaky come from behind victory here, I actually would have picked number one and number two. But I felt the most confident in my blue picks. So it's like the miscellaneous one will be the other blue card that
Hmm.
I was sure was like in contention for number one. And it worked out pretty well. It's at 58.1%. It was a B minus, which is really strong for a common. Like it's kind of in the same ballpark as the best red common Thunder Magic, right? It's a
Hmm.
little lower win rate, but it's kind of, you know,
They're like
it's
the
in
same
there.
type of card. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this not to give anything away, but this pick might have been the real difference maker, actually.
It was well, I mean, this specific line of me picking so low and you picking so high
Yeah.
really did it. Um,
Because from here on out, we have the same picks.
we do. Going into our gold picks for our uncommon, we both decided to pick Lock Coal because that's exactly the kind of card we love. Like a
Mhm.
3 mana blue black card that has Death Touch and Saboteur, and well, it has Lifelink, but the Death Touch part is what I cared more about, and the Saboteur effect. Always exciting.
And Lockhole was a strong card, but it was kind of mid-pack among gold signposts on commons.
Yeah, it was like a B minus level, but 57.2%. Very strong card. I still loved taking it.
Yeah,
Um,
I would still t like was taking it over some of these cards that did better than it, or like I would have. I mean, like in
yeah.
my when I'm playing sealed and stuff, I would
Hmm.
value it higher.
Yeah.
I will say, I also explicitly said the other thing I was considering was Cloud of Darkness,
And Cloud of
and
Darkness was a 60% card, B plus, like bordering on like knocking out
yeah,
the door of A minus. Like Cloud of Darkness
Cloud
is.
Cloud of Darkness was the correct answer here,
Mhm.
and I was like razor thin, like needle's edge on that one. But I was like, it's just I wasn't convinced Green Black was going to be good.
No, do you know what it was for me? Literally,
What?
it was that it costs two green pips.
Two green, right?
If it cost three black green, I would have picked it. Because it was
Right.
two green pips, I was like a little
What
iffy on
about
it.
two black, black, green?
Same thing. I wouldn't have picked it because it
Okay.
had extra colored pips in it. I was just
Yeah.
more nervous about trying to play the card. Even though green is probably the color that you'd want because you want to be base green in a lot of things. Though maybe in this
Sure.
set, I
But
don't
it's one
know.
of the weaker colors as well
Yeah, in this set,
on
yeah.
its own.
But anyway, just
I was so close to picking it too, and I was like, ah, it doesn't really fit with the narrative I'm telling about this being like a low to the ground fast format either.
exactly. And it's
Um,
exactly the kind of thing that I was saying was going to be a big grindy format. Cloud of Darkness would be great because your graveyard's full of shit.
right.
But it
I
having
think you were
flying and all
closer
that,
to being correct on like how you interpreted the format, but
yeah, I
a
picked all the
couple
wrong
of swing,
cards.
a couple of swing picks just
Yeah, I
changed
think
things.
the biggest thing is that I had picked blue red to be like I thought it was probably going to be the worst performing, but maybe would surprise me and be kind of in the middle. That's why I kind of cared about the four mana thing a little bit.
Right.
But I literally said, like, as I the first couple drafts I did with people, I was like, I'm pretty positive that this is a really bad idea. Like, four caring about four mana value non creature spells is such a bad idea. This is not going to work, and it ended up being amazing and so interesting, which sucks. I was like, God damn it, this is so good and fun. Like, I it was so funny the other day. I was drafting. I played a water crystal because
Hmm.
I thought, milling my opponents out. I'm always going to try to do that if I can.
Easy peasy.
However, it made all my four mana spells three mana spells, and it wouldn't trigger any of my stuff.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome. I never would have thought of that
it was
until it happened to me.
so annoying. It was like I can't trigger my Sahagins or anything because I'm like, well, this eject only costs three, so I didn't spend four mana on it, so I don't get any of my triggers.
Brutal. I definitely would not have thought of
Yeah,
that.
it was really annoying, which is so funny. I'm like, oh, I'll just I'll spend four mana for my what is it, ice magic? Nope, only costs three, which is normally great. But anyway, Emperor Polymecia and Shantoto were also fantastic picks. Both ended up being phenomenal. Obviously, the blue and the red, the blue red cards
Yeah.
were very strong. But yeah, Jeff, I mean, we both picked Dion as our
Yeah.
winningest rare, which I think Dion did well, but not not the. Oh no, it did very good. Never mind. Sorry,
It
sorry,
was
sorry, sorry.
0.1% below
Off.
the
Yeah,
actual best pick, which was Nibelheim of Flame. Um, I don't know. I still think I'd probably pick Dion over Nibelheim of Flame, but
yeah.
pack one, pick one. But
I
yeah,
will once
64.4% for
one,
Dion.
once again, Jeff. I will remind you that Nibelheim of Flame is a mythic rare, so we're only talking about rares.
Ah, okay. So didn't Dion win then?
Dion won, but was also tied with Arden, the usurper.
Ah, I see. Okay. I was
So
really surprised that this wasn't bolded, but I because
mhm,
Zach bolds it if you were right. And I was like,
yes.
we weren't right on that.
The other thing is that some of the bonus sheet cards were slightly better, which is kind of awkward. Normally, I wouldn't care that much about the bonus sheet cards, except for the fact that these showed up enough that you did have to think about them.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you were playing Winota, Join Your Forces, or Smuggler's Copter, were technically better rares
Yeah,
to open. So
Urza was too, but I guess that's another thing. But
yeah. So, but if you open a pack and you're like, what am I looking for? Like, it's always like, oh, Dion, Dion, Dion. But it's like, Smuggler's Copter. That's what I want because that would be colorless. It fits in all of the stuff, blah, 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 blah.
yeah, I thought we weren't. Oh, I didn't even know that they were on the table, the extra cards or whatever for
Yeah, but it's not fun
tiebreaker.
to pick those ones. We
Right.
so I those are all I'm just giving
I think we nailed
asterisks.
it. That's what I'm trying to
Okay,
say.
okay, all right. We did basically nail it. Obviously, it's so hard not to. Dion's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Honestly, no joke. This card is the reason I want to play Final Fantasy 16. Like,
Right. Yeah.
it looks cool as hell. Also, all the dudes turn into sweet like summons from Final Fantasy X.
Right.
I want to play this game. It's so cool. Anyway, sorry. That's my little side tangent, but
Way cooler than Arden.
Arden's the worst. Honestly, the biggest groan test is like Arden, just like coming down and you're like, I'm gonna win this game. It's like, God, no, not this card. Now
Yeah.
you're gonna get a hasty 5/5 menace demon of whatever card you want, and now I can't kill you, and I have to deal with two big creatures, and it's just this is horrible, and it just
Yeah. I feel like I'm still picking Dion over Arden though. Pack one, pick one. Just because of the
oh
mana cost, you know, like
oh if they're
four
right next to
versus
each
eight.
other, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean Arden, obviously, if you get to cast that, that's a beating.
Yeah, or reanimated or whatever people were doing, which that did happen to
Right.
me
Yeah. It
a
would.
lot. Anyway, if you haven't noticed, Jeff did win the Pack Zero Pick one.
Yes.
We did a nice job of making sure that this was as fast as possible, but it's always fun to talk about. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Once again, if you haven't played, get ready next week. We are playing once again Pack Zero Pick one for Edge of Eternities, but it's a really good time. It's if you and also like obviously we do this on the podcast, but grab a buddy, try to have a little bet, maybe a
Yeah,
couple
it does make it
packs,
more interesting.
couple
And you will
beers.
find the whole like, oh, I don't want to choose the same card that they're choosing because I gotta win. So
Exactly.
I need an edge.
Well, Jeff got his edge by picking blue cards that are good.
Yes.
That I
Ice
talked
magic,
myself out
baby.
of. I talked myself out of both of those cards, and I shouldn't have. But anyway, congratulations, Jeff. I think that's two in a row. I'm feeling pretty dumb. Feeling pretty dumb.
Well, I
Uh,
think you had at least two in a row before that, so
Probably, but
just my time.
yeah, just kind of coming back. Anyway, we do have some more cards to talk about that we pick stuff on. I always think the Pack Zero pick ones always take much longer than I think, but whatever.
Yeah. We could go through these faster, right? Because a lot of them are whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are our worthless lots. So we always talk about during our first tips episode cards that we think are worthless lot in your standard deck. Um, and Jeff normally talks about this. Do you want to explain what the different rankings are? Or should we just go back and listen to that episode if you want to know what the rankings were?
Yeah, basically we pick a card that's gonna do well, a card that we think might do well, and a card that we want to do well but probably won't.
Yeah,
And,
and that's that.
and we hold ourselves accountable. So
We do.
that's what we're doing now.
Yeah. My layup, so card I thought was going to for sure do well, was VV Orniteer, which it did. It went to the Pro Tour. It was in the top 8. It was very good.
Yeah, I think it's also the backbone of the current best deck in standard after the
Hmm.
bannings,
Yeah.
which is like the VV Cauldron is a deck.
Stuff. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it decks a house. So, and in no small part because like that deck probably uses this even more than the
Than the other one
previous
did.
Is It
Yeah.
builds did because it really takes advantage of that busted
It's more
activated ability.
it's more focused on VV. The other one was just kind of like, sometimes you just get VV and you just win.
Yeah, it's like VV's pretty good. Might as well
Mhm.
chuck a couple in there,
Yeah.
but it wasn't all in on it. Whereas this one's like, yeah, this card's insane. Let's just
Hmm.
take advantage of that. I picked Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier, which I'm happy with that choice. I mean, I was never
Yeah.
not going to make this choice,
Hmm.
but like traditional aristocrat strategies are definitely making a comeback,
Hmm.
and it's entirely at this point because of this card. And there's some support, like even more support coming in Edge of Eternities. So it really makes it clear that this was like a concerted effort from Wizards to like at the
Hmm.
very least put this on the map, even if it's might not end up being tier one. But I feel like right now we have a deck that is competitive that we can play, and after Edge of Eternities, we're gonna have options for the different slots. And
Hmm.
like right now, it's kind of like you have to play this. It's your sack outlet. It can sack for free and
Yeah.
more than once a turn. Like you have to play Bartolome. But maybe a little spoiler, next set we'll actually have more options for cards that can sack things for free.
Hmm.
And then there's more payoffs coming too and stuff. So I don't know, I think, and none of that's possible without this card. Like the
Yeah.
deck is just not playable without a real powerhouse that also provides like the utility the deck needs.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm happy with this pick. I don't think, it made any splash at the Pro Tour, but
No, I
it
don't think
could.
so.
It could.
But I have seen it around, and I definitely think this is like still worth a slot in your deck.
Yeah.
After the 7 weeks that we've been here, so fantastic. For my 3-pointer, I picked Lightning Army of One,
Mm.
which is a 3 mana Boros card that lets you do double damage and stuff. I thought it'd be fun to do like a lightning deck, lightning burst, lightning helix, lightning strike.
Question is, would you play Thunder Magic?
Oh, well, the lightning has to come first, then the thunder. But no, yes, sorry, I would play that, except for the fact that I've abandoned this completely because this card did not work. It was not. It never really did the things I wanted to do. I wanted to give it haste. I wanted, even with the bans, to make like a different like mono red or Boros deck kind of work. This card still couldn't get it together, and it was
Yeah.
just not good. It's not. It's too hard. Like it's just dead. It's just dead anytime you play it. Like it just doesn't
Yeah.
do anything.
The dies to cut down really sucks, I
Yeah,
think.
dies to
And
cut
burst
down.
lightning and like everything. It just dies to everything in the
It
format.
dies to everything and just doesn't. Like you can't even. It's not even like on attacks. Like you have to hit them and stuff. So flavorfully, it's really interesting because of the first strike trample stuff. But ultimately, sometimes you're just facing against a 4/4, and you're like, well, okay, my deck just stops working.
Right.
Like it just sucks. So not. I'm gonna give that like a not worth a slot. Sorry if you listen to me. I wasted wild cards on it, and I'm sorry if you did as well.
Well, I picked Summon Bahamut, which I'm
Hmm.
happier with because I have seen this card
Yes, I have as
played
well.
against me relatively often. It would see play in some versions of the unit deck. I run into some that don't play it, and I
Hmm.
honestly think, even though I picked it, if I built the unit deck myself, I don't think I would include this card. But lots of people do,
Dude,
and
yes.
so uh, if it's and I've been got by it. Like it
Hmm.
had their plan has come to fruition against me, where they reanimate this with
Hmm.
Yuna, and it obliterates me. So it's a real thing that you can choose to do in this deck, and so if that's your cup of tea, then this was totally worth a slot, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Check mark on that. Worth a slot, as in like usually it's like 1 or 2 copies, but yes,
Yeah, I don't think I ever would have advocated 4 copies of this thing,
no, no,
but
no, no. But I will say that's the biggest one that we missed was Yuna. We did not see that at all, really. I think the
yeah,
card looked cool, but it didn't seem like it was like, oh, I can see the potential to this card. And wow, that would have been an amazing 3-pointer, um,
yeah.
or
I
even
want to
layup.
say like
I
it
don't
was
know.
on my radar,
It
and
was not.
but then I decided that it was too strong for a 3-pointer, and I already had my layup, but no, it's not what
No,
happened. I just
no, no,
didn't
no.
didn't notice it at all.
I had seen it and it seemed cool, but I didn't see fully the power that you
I
could
feel
have
like
from
I
it.
must have read it, right? Because I played Final Fantasy X when I
Hmm.
was younger. So Yuna would have been a character that was kind of on my radar in this set. And I must have just kind of thought nothing of it because I don't remember it. I just don't remember like considering it at all.
Yeah. I knew exactly what it did and didn't think of it in standard whatsoever. So I was
To
like,
be
wow,
fair,
what a
I
cool.
still thought that when I played against it the first couple of times, being like,
Hmm.
eh. And then after it really like destroyed me, I was like, okay, I guess I gotta
Okay.
treat this thing with some
I gotta
respect.
I gotta actually respect this card.
Yeah.
Half court shots. I technically I picked Excalibur 2, but if you do remember listening to our conversation, I was
Mm,
saying any of the equipment from the
right.
set I really should have just stuck it all on the line and said the Buster Sword because that's really what I was talking about. I didn't technically say that, but all of them were bad anyway.
I was like, I
Like,
haven't played against any equipment.
yeah, none of the equipment were good. Um, Buster Sword included, and I for some reason at the time it felt like Buster Sword was too good to put as a half court shot. It felt like
Right.
that because
It's
in
actually almost
limited
a perfect half court shot.
you obliterate people in limited,
Right.
but in standard you cannot play equipment that don't do stuff. Like you can't just play a sword anymore.
Buster Sword, by the way, was only like a B plus in limited too.
Yeah, I guess every time I played it, it was brutal against my opponents, but I didn't get it very often, so there's also that. It wasn't like the one thing that you would want to have, but anyway, um, yeah. So no, no equipment in standard unless they
Yeah.
actually like do other things.
I made an awesome pick. I picked the water crystal, which is, of course, like the central component of one of the best decks in the format right
Yeah,
now,
totally.
which
Right,
is
right, of
a
course.
water crystal mill control.
Yeah.
So, oh, you guys don't know that deck? Oh, I'll post a deck list. Come to our Discord channel. You'll straight to Mythic for you if you copy this.
Yeah, of
But
course. No, obviously that
I've
card's
never seen
terrible.
this
No,
card.
no,
No.
no. It's not good. I was really surprised that you said it. I think I even like threw shade on the crystals, but right before.
Yeah, and I was like,
uh,
well, I'm gonna pick water crystal.
but no, it's fine. Uh,
Again, it really is like, what do I want to be good? Because the nice
exactly.
thing about like if a mill strategy is good in standard,
Hmm.
the nice thing is you get so many just like freebies from people conceding on the first turn or two of the match that
Exactly. That you're just like, oh, sick.
yeah. Like when we played Rogues that one time, it's like Ruin Crab, concede the
Yeah,
match. You're like, okay.
amazing.
And that would happen in like Platinum Plus,
It would
like
happen a lot.
Diamond. Like,
It would happen
what
a
is
lot.
happening?
Before we get to some other stuff, Jeff, I did want to talk to you about one card you had brought up earlier.
Ooh,
Okay. I've been wanting to talk to you about this card for some time, but I keep forgetting.
okay. Lay it on me.
You said that this card was underrated. You said that Ultima, or
Hmm.
sorry, you
Yeah,
said it was,
Ultima's
yeah, you said it was
underrated.
underrated. Okay. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this card because I don't think we brought it up specifically in that conversation.
Mhm.
But you were just saying that being able to, I can't remember if you said destroying all the stuff was great, but end of the turn part didn't matter. Do you
I might have
still,
said that.
I remember
Um,
you saying the end the turn feels like flavor text on the card. I wholeheartedly agreed. And then later I realized that that's not true at all.
right.
That end the turn is actually extremely important on the card and makes it a really viable option, specifically against decks that you play. So I wanted to know if you've had any issues with it, or if it's been played against you, or you've worried about it, or thought about it since.
Uh, yeah, I have seen it. I played a game where I realized that it did matter, but
Hmm.
not in like the way that you're alluding to either. Because if I have a big board and no sack outlet, like I don't know, you're gonna get me anyways. Like the couple of pings from my Blood Artist style effects is usually not what I'm banking on.
Sure. So what we're saying, sorry. So for
So
those who aren't paying attention, I'm talking specific. We're not paying attention. Sorry, that aren't privy to decks that Jeff likes to play and stuff. I'm
yeah,
talking about a white black like aristocrat style deck. And a lot of times, one of the strengths of those decks is that you can't wipe the board because if you wipe the board, their blood artist will kill you.
right.
It makes all the triggers go on the stack. They lose life for every single creature that died, and then the game's over. Ultima destroys all those creatures and then ends the turn. So the things go on the stack, but then the turn ends so that, or it ends before they can even go on the stack, basically. Um,
Yeah, and what I'm saying, I guess, is you already have to play around Sunfall,
mhm.
which means that you basically can't overcommit to the board without a sack
Without,
outlet.
got it.
like you can't rely on that the way you used to
Hmm.
because back in the day, oh, all they have is Wrath of God. You're like, yeah,
Hmm.
whatever. You're gonna take 12 damage if you cast that. You can't do that anymore because they just sunfall you and then they get
Hmm.
friggin' 12/12 or whatever the fuck it is. So,
Yeah.
and this card does a similar thing without the 12/12 in that situation.
Hmm.
But you are right. It does. It is something I think I was excited to not have to play around Sunfall anymore, and then I'm just like, wow, it's just still just have to play around this card, which for all intents and purposes in my deck is mostly the same thing. I'm trying to think if there's like a reason it's different. I don't care that much that they're in my yard. I'm
Did they
trying
destroy the
not to
artifacts
lean into that.
too
I don't really
matters,
play any
maybe?
artifacts, so
Well, if it makes you feel any better,
it
there's
doesn't
an
make the token, I guess, is the
yeah,
difference.
that's
But
the big thing. It doesn't make the token actually. That is huge.
yeah.
Because spoiler alert, Edge of Eternities also has a 5 mana board wipe that exiles all creatures. So they could just
But
do
the
that
thing I
one.
was thinking of is like it was a pretty common play pattern that you would like wipe the board and then cast your own creature to be
Hmm.
first. Like
Yes.
I am on the board first on
Hmm.
this fresh board state. You actually can't do that with this card.
No,
Um,
which is huge. It
so
like
it
a
comes
huge
it like
downfall in that way.
actually that end of the turn is not flavor text.
No.
It really changes the way you want to play with and against this card.
Hmm.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I thought of that when I actually like dabbled in control a little bit and I was like, oh, this is actually a little awkward. There is no way for me to wipe the board and end
And
up
then,
with the only creature.
hmm
So yeah, I guess this really wants to go in like more of a like like old school control shell
yeah.
where you only would even consider casting a creature once the game is already completely in hand.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no, that's a good way to bring us to task there on claiming the end of the turn didn't matter, but it
Yeah.
definitely does.
Because I also want to say I jumped right on board with that because I had no idea why it was there either. And then it's specifically here for this deck that we care and talk about a lot. So,
I think generally it's positive, right? Like
mhm,
allowing it to say destroy, but still get around death triggers
mhm.
is nice.
It's definitely an interesting way to do it. It also gives the little glimmer of hope in older formats to be like, can I quicken this and play it on your
Of
turn?
course.
You
Yeah.
know,
Gotcha.
uh, which does sound hilarious and horrible. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, upkeep, wipe the board, your turn's over.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's honestly what I originally thought it was for. I
yeah.
thought it was like, oh, this lets those types of players live that dream of
Hmm.
like,
It is a
you know,
dream.
yeah.
It's a cool dream.
But no, it is actually more relevant than that. I think it hasn't come up against me mostly because Sunfall still exists. But
Yes, but as we go into rotation, there will just be there's a different exile board wipe in Edge of Eternities, but it doesn't leave a token. So whether it'll be played or not, we don't know. But yeah. Anyway, Jeff, quickly before we wrap up everything in our 200th episode, before we go to the last call, can we talk about a couple of our favorite cards just from the set? But do you have anything that was your favorite from Limited in particular?
well,
Um,
funny you should ask that because uh, I think my favorite limited card was, and granted, I think I've made it clear, but like I had very little limited experience. I kind of jumped right into constructed with this set.
yeah.
But my favorite limited card, I think, was the Black Mages card, the
Oh, cornered by black mages.
Cornered by Black Mages, because that's the one that really like stood out to me as
Hmm.
being, oh, I thought this was like C minus territory. Like I thought this was kind of like it's not what you're hoping for in this deck, but you'll play it kind of
Hmm.
thing to being like, wow, that really impressed me and was one of the better cards in my deck. Uh, like I thought, that was the weak point of my deck that I was playing two or three copies of this thing. And it ended up being like, oh, this is why I'm kicking everyone's ass because I have three copies of this thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my favorite limited card, I think, and it was the one that changed its rating the most based on just like there's a
Experience
card
with
where you're
it.
like, this card's bad, and then you play
Hmm.
one game with it, you're like,
You're like, oh.
oh, wait, I was wrong.
Hmm.
It only takes that one game to be like, I might have been wrong about this card.
Yeah.
Um, that was the one that did it for me.
Yeah. I I love that pick, especially because it is just so fun. Also, like nice Rakdos card. Um,
Yeah.
I have so many cards that I think are really great in limited, but I think for this specific one, I'm gonna have to pick the card that helped me win two booster boxes.
Woo!
This guy, it is a rare, but it is specifically a card that you would play in limited, not necessarily in constructed.
Perfect.
And it's Cipher Almasi or Cipher Almasi. I don't know how to pronounce that name yet. I haven't played the game,
Hmm.
but it's the
Favorite
it's.
card, you don't even know how to say it.
I know, I know. I got to play Final Fantasy VIII or something.
It's okay. I didn't even know what the name of mine was, so.
Yeah, it's fine. But this is the 4 mana 3/4 legendary creature that gives if you attack alone, one of your creatures gains double strike, and then if he himself deals combat damage to a player, you get to recast instants and sorceries from your graveyard that cost 3 or less.
Oh, okay.
He also pairs with Squall, who's the white black version that does exactly the same thing, except it gets back permanent cards from your graveyard.
Right.
But the big reason why I liked this card is that game's double strike. I love double strike, and I had a pretty sick run playing this card with double striking, trampling dudes. It was just like Balam Tree Rexars that are attacking for 12 double strike, and
Oh, yeah.
it was nuts. I actually net the bottom part of the text where you get to recast spells from your graveyard never mattered. I was just putting
Just double
counters.
strike. That's all that
I was
matters.
just putting counters on this guy, attacking, and it was basically like, if you don't block, I'm gonna kill two of your creatures with my removal spells in my graveyard, so you have to block. And then
Right.
eventually,
So it mattered that extra text
it
mattered,
it
but not like
it
you didn't
mattered
cast stuff from your graveyard.
exactly. It mattered in the sense of you don't want to let this guy in, but also you're still
Yeah.
gonna take like 6 or 8 damage if you don't block. So you should
I
probably
love that.
block. Lot of fun. I love the duality of both of those cards. They're enemies in that game, but their
Mhm.
abilities are almost identical. Super cool. So awesome. Or at least I'm pretty sure they're enemies. I think somebody told me that.
And I took them at their word and I'm spreading
Yeah.
that information now.
Which is the reason why I think his name's Cypher, not Cipher. Cypher is an evil name. Cipher is a nice name. You know what I mean?
Okay. Sure.
Is sounding.
Yeah, yeah.
I have no idea. But anyway, I loved that card. I really only got to play it like once or twice, but it was just so much fun. Man, giving anything you want double strike is a blast. It's a blast, especially when it's single colored, like just a single red pip as opposed to Squall, which is white and black. But anyway, super sick card. Love it.
Yeah.
Love
It's an
it.
awesome pick. I love when there's like a story behind it, and
Hmm.
helping me win two booster boxes is a solid story.
Fuck yeah.
I've never seen this card until you like
Really?
said it. I had to go find it.
Oh,
It's like, okay, sure, yeah.
so cool.
Giving creatures double strike is good.
Yeah. Jeff, for standard, is there any
Yeah.
cards that you found particularly exciting that we haven't already talked about?
Um, so I think this is a good sort of time to just reflect on something that I think is interesting, which is that this happened a few times over the course of the show, but I think generally coming into this set, the opinion of it was that it would not impact standard
Hmm.
because it was too weak. It was a commander set. There just weren't enough kind of streamlined power cards to have a big impact on the standard environment. And I actually kind of like I see where that opinion came from. Like looking at
Hmm.
the cards, I'm like, this isn't. this is coming off the back of a few powerhouse sets in the fall. It's not as good as those sets, but I think people overestimate how good things have to be to like shake up standard. You just
Hmm.
need a few cards to sneak through, right? And so I actually this think this set has had a pretty big impact on standard, even
Yeah.
though, probably on paper you would say it's not the most powerful set.
Hmm.
Um, but one thing that kind of gets me that I play against this card all the time, and I think, in preview season, I never would have thought
Thought.
twice about it. Um, but that card is Astrologian's
Mm.
Planisphere. Like
Hell yeah.
this card, I don't even know if I ever read it. I just looked at it, was like, nah, that's not a standard card.
Hmm.
But I play against this card all the time. So it's one in a blue, job select, and Crypt Creature is a wizard with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, and whenever you draw your third card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Yeah, I mean, this card is like the go-to two drop in the best deck in the format. You know what I mean? And like that deck certainly doesn't exist without this format. Obviously, we already talked about VV, but I
Hmm.
think this is the card that it surprises me all the time where I'm like, I just keep having to be like, yeah, this card is just better than I thought it was because
Yeah.
I get my ass kicked by this card
It's
from
like
time to time.
you,
So
whenever you cast a non-creature, get a counter, and also if you draw your third card, which often is in conjunction with casting more non-creatures.
of course,
So
yeah. Like when they do that, it just feels like the cherry on top.
it's
We
like,
already
oh,
got
you
like
get,
three fucking counters. You need another one? Come on.
yeah. No, that card was definitely on my list of like, this card looks so bad. And
Right.
somehow, I don't know why I thought it was that bad. I guess I kind of skipped the non-creature part and was just or what I did was I read it as whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana 4 or more, and
Yeah.
you draw 3 cards or whatever. Um, I was like, this is a 2 mana 1/1 that will never trigger or like barely ever trigger.
Yeah.
But in fact, that's not the case. It triggers a lot. It's very good.
Um, and the other thing I wanted to just quickly shout out
Hmm.
was Dark Confidant, I think
Ooh,
is better than I thought it was. I didn't want
Bob
to
is.
pick it as my like, card here, but
Mhm.
because it's a reprint. But I think it was one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know if this card has the chops anymore to compete
Hmm.
with our Bloomburrow standard. And I actually think it does.
Yeah,
This card still is a must kill on site kind of thing. And
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
just kind of jamming it into black decks, even when it doesn't necessarily synergize, just
mhm,
because it's good.
might as well. Yeah, I also think that like a lot of people were looking at standard when the set was coming out, and it was pre-bans and everything, which there
Right.
was definitely less activity for Final Fantasy before the bans. It has a huge injection post bans, but there was still some cool stuff going on. Like Yuna
Yeah,
was
yeah.
still
Some
sneaking
stuff's
through,
still cracked. Yeah, Yuno is still a deck
like
people
kind
play.
of the normal amount that you would expect. And now, since post bans, it feels like there's a lot more cards.
Right.
Um,
Like there's even the birds deck, while I don't think
oh,
it's
that's
tier
true.
one, you have to respect it, man. You can lose to
Honestly,
that deck
you
quickly.
saying that right now, like I was thinking the only standard card that I really liked was Lightning because that was like the one I wanted to try the most. But
Hmm.
Choco, the bird, the main banned bird, like
Yeah.
that or Traveling Chocobo. I'll say Choco because that has like less press. I think that it's so cool that that deck is actually scary enough to be like, oh no, I'm playing against birds. I don't want to
Yeah.
play against birds. Um,
That actually happens to me because I'm like, either they kind of putter around and like don't
mhm.
commit much, or they fucking steamroll me.
Stomp you. And they play Barts and Boko and just blow up a bunch of your dudes. And then Choco, they're just like drawing more cards. And then with Traveling Chocobo, they draw more cards off of Choco. It's just like, Yeah, what the
Have a
f
random like Sots Catsroy comes down, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
no, no. I'm still scarred from that, from my limited
yeah.
my limited experience against that card.
Ugh,
But
yes. So good. So strong. Um, Jeff, I don't know if you played an Explorer, but are there any Explorer cards you're interested in?
um, yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I'm interested mostly in Sephiroth and Explorer, but
Yeah. Same.
I'm sure
VV
there's something.
is the
Yeah,
same.
VV,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure there's something. I just haven't really been looking at it from that lens.
Yeah. That's
There's
totally
no like
fine.
Explorer event coming up, so I
Yeah.
just haven't really been playing it.
But something you can easily talk about is your favorite art on a card
Oh, I
from
don't
the
know about
set.
easily because there's some good stuff.
There is. Now, I will start, but
Okay.
I would just like to say that I think the alt art. Now, oftentimes we don't talk like don't want to talk about alt arts. I really do just like talking about the actual art of all the cards. But I think that every single one of the character frames, I don't know what they I can't remember what they called them, but the it's like the bold border legendary creatures where it's the legendary creature and it's just a color and it's the Roman numeral from the game they're from. I like those so much. So like specifically, I think like Yuna's is fantastic. I really like Squall's, but I'm gonna pick Aerith Gainsborough. It's just Aerith selling you a flower. She's got like whatever the color. I don't know. Is that like a greenish yellow behind it? In this bold border thing.
Yeah.
They're super cool. You can get them in the play boosters. I was all about these. I like them so much, and I think they look fantastic. And I'm kind of just talking about the entire choice to do this style. But
Yeah.
oftentimes, I don't think I like this style. They've done some other ones in the past that have been like
Right.
portraits and stuff that I thought like were kind of okay. But these ones really hit the mark for me. So I'm a big fan of these.
Yeah, I get that. Like generally, for whatever reason, probably just because I haven't read a lot of anime myself,
Hmm.
when they do the anime treatments, I'm less into them than like other people. It kind of is like, oh, that's for other people, not for me. And
Yeah,
I don't know that these are necessarily anime, but they're kind of in that style, sort of Final
for sure.
Fantasy, like true to the art
The
style of
vibe
Final
of it, yeah.
Fantasy itself. Um, but these are awesome, and I just really like the plain background with the game they're from. I think that is
Yes.
my favorite part of the whole thing. I will say, just for whatever reason, I don't love the Sephiroth one, which is the one that I would consider
Oh
crafting.
yeah.
Um, I don't know why. I just kind of maybe I just like the original art on Sephiroth enough that I'm like, I kind of
Gotcha.
just I wish I had like this same portrait because the original is almost a portrait of him.
Yeah.
Just the action shot of him, I guess, over this background. I would love that, but so obviously.
All right.
So I'm
Good.
forced. I'm like torn on which one to choose, but I just play the one
That's
that doesn't cost me gold.
gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, I was just gonna say the Sephiroth with the like the maroon background. I think looks really cool, but it's
I
good
think
to
the
know
background is great, but I like the action shot of the sword
of this
slash
sword.
of the other
All
one.
right, that's good to know. That's good to know. I have a copy of this bold one. I guess I won't give it to you then. Fine. That's
Oh no, never. Actually, it's my favorite one, and
I was like, oh well, I pulled one of these. Maybe I'll give it to Jeff. But now there's no way I'm giving it to you. Now that I know you
damn
don't
it,
like it.
I can't believe I just no. I mean, I do like it. It's just there's a lot of options for Sephiroth, and I feel weird because I like the original the best. I'm like I
Hmm.
feel like I'm supposed to like one of these other ones, but um, cool. I actually chose a card that's original art for
Yeah,
my
yeah.
choice. But
As if the one I picked was not original art.
yeah, yeah, obviously, I picked Kefka Court Mage.
Oh, nice.
So this art I just really like the like obviously I don't know anything about Kefka by the way. I don't know what game he's
Hmm.
from. but obviously has a bit of like the
6.
Joker thing going on. He's
Mm-hmm.
like clown, crazy clown kind of vibe going, and I think it's really captured well in this piece.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and looks like Shui Tan maybe is the artist that did this.
Yeah.
Um, but and then the backside, the grin on this sort of angelic angel demon kind of thing. Again, I don't know anything about Kafka, but I really love the expression on the face of this fucking thing that it transforms into because it's really reminiscent of that like clown. It's like a demon that was like, yeah, I came from this creepy clown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think like I want to play this card because I like this art. But I'm not sure how to make that happen.
Yeah. But that's exactly what you want to hear. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know anything about this card. I don't know anything about this game, but the art on this card looks cool, and I want to play whatever that is.
right.
That's like it is a lot of what Magic is and why we were kind of drawn into it in the first place. And the fact that it can still resonate even when it's from another IP, I think does matter. Where it's like, oh yeah, actually other things are still cool.
Yeah.
I understand wanting to have cards that are just like Magic related, but I think kind of wrapping up this whole thing, you know, after looking at all the Final Fantasy stuff and playing with that and being able to talk to a bunch of people who played all those games and stuff has been so interesting. And now it's been such an interesting experience to look at the Edge of Eternity spoilers and be like, cool, there's all these things. I don't necessarily know if I have to know more about these characters. Like, we definitely can.
Right.
All the stories are out. I haven't read them yet. I probably will. But I've been enjoying my experiences talking with more people about Final Fantasy than I probably will about the lore of Magic, which is strange. I never thought I was going to say that. Like,
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, sorry, I just looked up the background with the sixth version. I love that one too of Kefka.
yeah,
Oh, that one's good.
very good. Yeah, there's like 3 different versions of Kefka. All of them freaking
They're all great. I
sweet.
might like this actually like 2D one even the best.
That
Um,
is probably the most choice famous one, but the middle one. But the anyway,
I
just
gotta build a Kefka deck now.
yeah, I don't have any
Just
copies of that.
just have one
I
of each art style.
Yeah, I can't give you a copy of Kafka, but
Goddamn. Well, you have 2 boxes, so
that's true.
maybe
Maybe
we'll
we'll
find
find
some.
some. Yeah. But anyway, kind of closing thoughts on Final Fantasy is, man, did they knock it out of the freaking park? Like home run slam dunk on the first Universes Beyond set that was in standard.
Yeah.
Hope this is not the only home run slam dunk because oftentimes this feels like season 1 of a great show. And then,
Right.
it slowly goes down. Where they're just like,
Pretty
well, we can just
quickly
make as
usually
many as
actually.
possible. Let's just keep making as many as possible. Let's just go, let's go, let's go. And then
Yeah.
the quality goes down very quickly. So, hoping that's not the case here, but you never know. So, I
I
will
mean, they're not going to hit it at this level every time, right? So
definitely
they
not.
obviously put some extra effort into this one because there's a lot kind of riding on it.
Hmm.
I think you're right. They nailed it. The Everything I've heard about the limited format has been
Hmm.
pretty much positive. Its effect on standard, I think, is just right. Like
Hmm.
it affected standard before the bans. Then there's some bans happen. It has a bigger effect, but it's still, it's not like a Bloomborough that
No,
just completely redefines the format. It
which
just
is,
kind of introduces a few new things and
yeah.
it's brought a lot of old cards to the forefront, kind of like Vivi's
Hmm.
activated ability. Oh yeah, a great way to use that is Agatha's Soul Cauldron, which
Yeah.
has been around for, a little bit and it brings that back up that maybe people forgot about. So its impact there has been great. And obviously, I don't know much about it, but I'm assuming this was a set that Commander players are excited about. So I
Yeah,
think they just kind of like they nailed it then.
they did.
If standard players like it, draft players like it, and Commander players like it, like there you go.
Yeah.
That's can't ask for more than that.
I definitely agree with that. Strangely, I feel like Spider-Man's going to be a letdown, but Avatar: The Last Airbender is going to be really good for some reason. That's kind of what I feel in the air. But
Let's see if you're right.
we'll have to
You were
see.
right, 5 years ago when you said that universe you basically predicted universes beyond. So
Well, I also said it was going to be horrible for Magic, and I've decided
yeah.
that it's actually
All right.
the
So
best thing for Magic, and Magic is actually like we're moving into the area of Magic is the trading card game, and that is that is its stake in the world, as opposed
right.
to it's a trading card game. Another one like you if you want to play One Piece or whatever, you can go to those places. So it's like no, we are the trading card game. This is the best one, and we just get all the IPs. And if you want to play a trading card game, you play this trading card game. I think that's what they're
Right.
kind of saying right now. And I'm on board. I've gone away. I've played other games. I've come back. I've tried so many different things. All of them have different flavors, but Magic has always continued to be like the best one.
Yeah, I've played so many, but none of them have the longevity of Magic.
They don't. Yeah, and I have my own frustrations with all of those other games too. It's not like any of them fixed it. We're like, this is amazing,
Yeah, they all claim to fix, Magic's
resource system.
problems,
Yeah,
but they just have their own problems, right?
yeah.
So,
Maybe one day I'll play Lorcana, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway,
no, one day you will play Disney in Magic.
that's true. That's what I really expect. Like, I ultimately think it'll be like Magic with every IP, including probably not Flesh and Blood. Like, you're not going to get that IP because that's going to try really hard, but you're
Yeah.
not going to get
Why
any
would you?
players from that. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah.
But if they had Disney sets and if they had Star Wars, we're looking at Star Trek, Marvel, all that stuff. And then Pokemon will just be separate. I don't think Pokemon's ever going to come to Magic. But if it's like Pokemon for collecting, Magic for playing, that's feels like
Right.
kind of the vibe.
Yeah, that's where the world's going.
Yep. Talk to you in 5 years.
That's
Episode
right.
400. We'll see. Um, but anyway,
So it
folks,
turns out
this
Pokemon is the only card game that exists
yeah, they
now.
absorbed all of Magic. Now we're playing Pokemon. This is a Pokemon podcast.
Now we're throwing Pokeballs at Jace.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of being the arena regulars, we're the like stadium regulars because we're going to Pokemon Stadium.
Ooh, I love that. We
Yeah.
should start that podcast. I don't know anything
Ooh,
about
okay.
Pokemon cards, but I have been watching a lot of Pokemon
Oh,
recently.
hey, if you want to play the Pokemon TCG online, I know it's cheap as hell. So,
Ooh, I like
um,
that.
yeah, they do have a very good online client that is basically free. And I do know that like they have things where like you open packs and there's codes and it just gives you the cards on your online client.
I've
So,
always wondered why Magic didn't have that, and then I realized because they make more money by not
money,
having it.
money is
Yeah.
obviously the thing. And Pokemon has this other weird thing where it's like all the cards are cheap as hell, but like some of them are crazy expensive, and then
Right.
the pack like unopened packs are really expensive because they
And they're
could
not
have those
even like
cards.
good cards. They're just
No,
weird foils or
that's
something.
it. It's
Yeah.
literally just this is my favorite Pokemon. Like it's crazy. It's a
Yeah.
Charizard, no matter how good or not it is, just if it's got a good picture. I saw this guy. People collect the craziest. Sorry, I know that we're trying to end the show, but people collect the craziest Pokemon cards. This one guy, I saw a video, and he was just showing off his collection of Pokemon that look like they're pooping. And it's just like that's his entire
What?
collection. Is every single card is just a Pokemon that looks like it's pooping
Why?
because that's how he enjoys the game. And it's like I'll look at the new set and look at all the cards. And if there's one that looks like it's pooping, I'm trying to get that card. But otherwise, I don't want any of the cards. And that's just a very niche specific. My binder is only Pokemon that are pooping.
I just need to know how it started. It's obvious. Yeah. Anyways,
But it
funny.
probably just one Pikachu card looked like it was pooping. Like, wouldn't
And
it be
then
funny if I
yeah,
did this? And then just started doing it.
yeah.
I mean, like, I love
Just
it. I love that.
became his thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
My
if
my son would think that's the funniest thing ever. So,
right. So, hey, maybe like put that little seed in
but
his
and for
head.
me, it's top five. I'm not saying it's not funny to me because I'm
Hey, yeah,
too
yeah.
mature for that.
No, poop is funny. Like poop is really funny when you're a kid, and then when you become like a teenager and you're like too old for that, it's not funny anymore. But then once you
Yeah,
get like to your late 20s, it's kind of funny again. Like poop just gets
yeah. You're
funny.
like, yeah, actually,
Yeah,
the
actually,
kids were right.
kids
Yeah,
are right. It was pretty funny. Like I don't need to pretend that I'm old anymore. I don't care. I'll just laugh at what's funny, and it's still kind of funny.
and it's crazy because like it's built in, right? Like
It
we
is.
were not laughing at farts or poops around my son because we were trying to potty train him and all that,
Hmm.
right? But
Yeah.
it's still just funny
It's
inherently.
just
He
a
just
funny,
laughs at it.
weird sound. I don't know. It's something
Yeah.
about. I don't know if it's because like it uses similar muscles that like laugh muscles have as well. So you like do
Oh,
it and it
that's an interesting
surprises you
theory.
and it just kind of makes you chuckle a little bit and then when you hear it, it makes you laugh again too.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
I
it's
don't
like
know.
it's the funniest, it's the smells,
Yeah,
it's
it's like
loud, it makes a funny
it's
noise. It's just all of
yeah,
it together is just inherently funny.
yeah, exactly. And like I don't know. There's something
Or maybe humans have evolved in such a way that
maybe
it's important to laugh about for some
probably
reason.
that could
Yeah.
easily be it too because like maybe shame was too intense and be like you
People
know what
died from like holding in their
the,
poops
the
because
poops and
they were too ashamed.
yeah, that is one of my things. Hey, buddy, I do have to say, like, yes, I'm saying that poops and farts are still funny, like, whatever. They've always been funny. We just pretended for a while they weren't.
Yeah.
But I will say that like the shame of going to a bathroom, like a public bathroom, and
Yeah.
you have to shit really badly. But like,
Yeah.
there's always the thing of like, I don't want it to be so loud because it number one echoes everywhere, and it just is
Yeah. Those
embarrassing because
bathrooms are,
but also
there's no
people
egg cartons on the wall in there.
yeah but they kind of know who you are but at the same time I want to walk out of there like blow up a toilet walk out wash your hands and be like what do you expect like what am I supposed to do
Yeah.
here that's what this is for
That's what it's for. It's
yeah
literally the
I'm
reason.
supposed to do this here and that's just what it sounds like so
Yeah.
like don't shame me for this you know.
But I feel like everyone feels that way about they're gonna get shamed. By the way, it's crazy. I did not expect us to be talking about this on our 200th episode. Everyone feels like, that they're getting shamed for that, but then I would never shame someone for that. Like when I'm never thinking about that when I'm in the bathroom being like,
It's
like
so I well, if I hear something, I won't say anything. I will go tell my wife about it though.
it's like so I was at the urinal and oh boy, did I like
Man,
it
that guy was
shattered the glass.
yeah, yeah. or whatever. I thought you were gonna say like at the urinal, that guy was like peeing so hard, like apparently or something. Um, which
No, no. The
obviously
only thing is like, and then there were 12 empty urinals. The guy chooses the one right next to
right
me.
next to me. What the hell is that about? And then he just starts farting up a storm, and I'm like, what is going on? Why are you doing this to me, buddy? Um, no, well, I feel like there was a joke in some TV show that was talking about like wanting to piss really, really hard and loud because the louder it was, it meant that your penis was really long. Like that was like they had decided that in their child brain that like yeah, if it's a loud piss, you got a big dick, you know, and that's the thing.
I think
Anyway,
it's the opposite, right? Because if the pee is originating at a higher
higher
spot,
it'll
then
be
gravity
louder,
would,
right?
yeah.
That's true. That does make more sense, right? See, we need scientists in here talking about this. Mathematicians be like, how? So that's a great experiment.
Actually,
I would love to know that. Like, okay, varying penis sizes. How loud is the pee against the urinal? I want to know. You pull out your like,
like a decibel meter
yeah,
next to the urinal.
right next to you. You're like looking around. How big is everyone's penis around me? Anyway, sorry. We got
Turns
under.
out it's random.
Yeah, it turns
It's
out
not correlated.
there's a bunch of places you can pee on the urinal that will change the sound of what it
Yeah.
is and how loud it is. Um,
You gotta piss right on the blue hockey puck. That's
yeah,
the
that makes a lot of noise. Not a lot of
right?
noise.
No noise, right?
No noise.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking of the pads that have like the holes in it that make a ton of
No, that's a
noise.
different thing. Yeah.
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 Um,
Or,
anyway,
the classic ice. That's my favorite.
just
Just
urinal ice.
urinals full of ice.
Hmm. What a weird thing. Why do they do that?
Who's replenishing it? That's anyways, whatever.
What are the poor barbacks of that bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just has to scoop some ice. Like if there's a lot of people there, it's just not sustainable. But anyways.
I don't know either. Like, why do you just need to cool down that piss? Oh, it's because it goes into the keg and then they pour the Coors Light out of it. That's why. Okay.
Ah, of course.
Yeah, you
It's just
gotta.
like it just pumps straight to the Coors
Yeah,
Light tap.
yeah. That's exactly why they got to cool it down on the way to the tap.
And water it down
Yeah,
sufficiently.
exactly. It's perfect. Um, anyway,
It all makes sense now.
Jeff, we're already talking about beer. Let's go to last call, where we
Yeah.
are going to rate the beer that we had this evening. Um, the the beer we had was Aviator by Muskoka Brewing. We always rate our beers on a scale from bronze to mythic, just like the tiers in Arena. However, this has nothing to do with what tier you are in currently. Everyone's in different tiers at different times, so don't feel bad when we say that bronze beers are trash. They're horrible. You spit them out, you pour them on the ground, and they're disgusting. You even pee on them, and then they go into the
Yeah, it's a
keg
whole
of.
thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a vicious cycle. Uh, Silver beers are bad and or boring.
Gold beers are fine, but you wouldn't drink them again.
Platinum is solid. You would totally drink it again.
Diamond beers are exceptional. You like this a lot, and you show them off to your friends.
And Mythic, these are the absolute best of the best. These are the monk's fist of the beer world.
I do think that Monk's Fist would be like a really great beer name, to be fair.
Yeah, it's actually
Like, I
like
would.
is it a Trappist, like Belgian kind of thing?
Oh, shit. That would be sick. A Trappist beer that's called Monk's Fist?
Yeah, I would buy
Holy
the shit
shit.
out of that.
That would be so good because it knocks you on your ass.
It's
It
like a
had to be.
12% Belgian
Yeah.
triple or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's a quadruple, a
Ooh, yeah.
quintuple or something.
Yeah. Whatever the highest one is, just go even one further than that.
Monk's Fist. That's cool as hell. All right. We got to find this or get this to happen.
We have to make it. We have to go to some monastery in Belgium and make
That
this
sounds
beer.
like a good use of our time and our resources. Aviator, Jeff, what do we think about this? Was it, I want to ask, was it a West Coast that tasted East Coast or an East Coast that tasted West Coast?
I was going to ask you the same question. To me, this was a West Coast IPA with a bit of fruit in it.
Hey, that's exactly what I thought. Look at
Yeah.
that.
It definitely leaned like it tasted kind of like Mad Tom with
Hmm.
some pineapple in it or whatever they put in.
Exactly.
Um, which I will say was nice.
It was very nice. I did
It was
like it.
nice.
But it's an interesting different type of beer because normally when I'm looking at IPAs, I really do want to go East Coast like
Yeah.
all the way through. Um, and I immediately tasted it. I was like, this tastes West Coast. And we
Right.
have some of the hazy tropical stuff. But I don't know. Am I going to come back to this again a lot? I don't know. Like, would you prefer to drink this over Mad Tom?
So that's the things, right? So
Hmm.
like part of my love for Mad Tom is probably not even related to the actual beer or like the taste of the
Hmm.
beer itself. It's more just like my memories and history
Yeah.
with it. I've had it so long that I've developed the taste for it. So this tasted to me like Mad Tom with some fruit in it. And I was like, that's something I kind of might pick up every once in a while, but generally I would stick with Mad Tom over
Yeah.
this. And I think part of that is also generally I just prefer that you're going to go full East Coast. If you're going to
Hmm.
do the fruit thing, like do it the East Coast way.
Yeah.
Because generally those are better. Like Mad Tom is like the only West Coast IPA I cling to where I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, that's my favorite. And then if I'm ever picking up an IPA that's not that one, I'll
It's
almost always go
always
for
East
East
Coast. Yeah.
Coast. So um, I think I ended up in platinum with this,
Hmm.
but I wanted to give them like some points for I like that they decided to do a blend of the two things, and it definitely tasted like it was based on Mad Tom, which I think
Yes.
is what they were going for. So I think they
Which,
hit what they were going for here.
yeah. Which also just makes sense. It is kind of what you would expect from that can. I did also
Right.
land on this exactly the same thing. Like I think we're completely aligned in this beer. It was like a high platinum. I don't drink Mad Tom a bunch,
Yeah.
but I do like Muskoka's like Drifter,
Yeah,
which is
Drifter is solid.
Drifter's another one of these beers, but they have a nitro version,
Mm.
which is everywhere, and that's the one I always drink. So probably not going to pick this one up either, but definitely solid, good beer, and it almost reminded me of like a different version of a Radler, where it was like
Yeah.
you kept saying like this is a beer that they just put pineapple in, but like not pineapple juice, obviously. But it
Right.
kind of lives in that world where it's like a full beer version of a Radler. Is what it kind of gives me. Even though it's still high, it's like 6 point whatever, 6.5%, but it gives me that vibe of it. So if somebody
It did
was,
have kind of Radlery vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if somebody was interested in that kind of thing, where it's like, man, I really like all that stuff. I like that Radler vibe, but wanted something a little bit
Yeah, it's
more.
like if East Coast was too juicy or whatever,
Hmm.
it's too fruit forward. This is way less fruit forward than
Yes.
most East Coasts you'll pick up. But you're like, I just want something a little more. I want some fruit. I just don't want
Yeah.
it to go crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of where this lands.
Exactly. And some fruit that's not grapefruit and lemon or whatever.
Yeah, not like fake grapefruit,
Hmm.
which is always the thing.
Yeah. It's like, yum. So, platinum for us both. For the
Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah,
It's a good addition to the Mad Tom lineup, I would say.
I agree. I still think Major Tom might be one of my favorites, but it
Yeah.
is very high in alcohol, so I do not drink it like ever.
Right.
But Major Tom is out of this world. It's fun.
That's the same reason I don't drink twice as Mad Tom, because I'm always like,
Hmm.
oh, it's so good, but like, when am I going to drink this?
Exactly. I still look for it though every time. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
twice as
yeah.
mad is really good, but yeah, when am I gonna? I can't just randomly drink this. I have to
Right.
like pick a time where it works, and it's like it just doesn't. I don't know. I'd rather
Just
have
doesn't
two
happen.
beers.
It sits in my fridge. Yeah, exactly. I'd
Yeah,
rather have two 5% instead of 10%.
yeah, because then it's like really I'm gonna have a 10% and just like a bunch of glasses of water, as opposed to
Right.
like two 5% and like a glass of water. Anyway, Jeff, let's go to closing time. Let's wrap this thing up. It's the 200th episode. It's been feeling awesome, but it does
Yeah.
have to end at some point. So you can always reach us at Arena Regulars if you want to talk to us. We're on Twitter. No, we're not on Twitter. Sorry, we're not on Twitter anymore. We're on Blue Sky and we're on Instagram.
Right. You can also find us on Arena itself under the username Arena Regulars Podcast.
If you want to talk to me personally, you can find me at @theregular_Zach. I'm on all the different places, but I'm also on Twitch and YouTube. But Jeff, where can they find you?
Best place is our Discord channel. I go by Regular Jeff there. It's super fun. We talk about, what we're uncovering in a new draft format, which is coming up. Talk about standard. We post deck lists. We share ideas, and we organize a monthly arena peasant cube draft. The cube is really well designed and it's super fun. So make sure you jump in on that. The link to our Discord's in the show notes.
That is right. Also, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. Leave us a review there as well. It just means a lot. We really appreciate hearing all your feedback. If you go to YouTube, leave a comment. We love to comment back to you. So, would love to hear your thoughts on the show, and it helps us grow. This has been the 200th episode of the Arena Regulars podcast.
Reminding you that we did it. 200 episodes.
Good night. All right, that's fine.